Hello everyone, it's your friend Zach Dresch here for the Dresch Code, all things music from a Dresch perspective. And for my first video ever, I figured I would rank all the albums from my favorite band of all time, Green Day. Green Day's been a band that's been around since 1987. They've released 13 albums, they've sold millions and millions of records, had several side projects, including Pinhead Gunpowder, Foxborough Hot Tubs, The Network, and The Long Shot. But today we're only going to be focusing on the regular studio albums from this band. Shenanigans is a B-sides album that does not count, so I just want to get that out of the way right away. And I figured what better way to start this channel than begin with ranking the albums from my favorite band. So let's get into it. Coming in at dead last is their most recent album, Father of All, 13th place. Man alive, this album is not great. Clocking in at 26 minutes, this album is full of the most uninspired music I have ever heard this band put out. And I've heard the trilogy, that's coming, all right? This album is full of generic music that I've heard on so many car commercials. Not these songs, but songs like these songs. The only tracks I moderately like is the title track and Sugar Youth, which would have been best on the sidelines of another B-sides album. It's not the worst thing that I've heard in the world, but it's definitely the worst thing that Green Day has ever put out, and I'm going to give this 2 Fro picks out of 5. I don't have 5 Fro picks here, but I'm going to hold it up and shake it twice. Coming in at 12th place is one of 3 releases that Green Day put out in 2012, this one being Dose. Dose features Mike Dirnt on the cover right there, and it's definitely more of a Foxborough Hot Tubs release than a Green Day release in my eyes. It also features 2 of the worst songs that Green Day has ever put out, the first being F-Time, I don't want to get demonetized, and the second one is Nightlife, which features rapping in a Green Day song. No thank you. There are some really great songs on here, though. Stray Heart is a classic. Lazy Bones, Wow That's Loud, and Amy are all fantastic numbers. But this album just does not hold up to me, and yeah, it's the worst of the 3 in the trilogy. I've had a couple friends say this is their favorite, so go figure. If you like garage rock a little more, I think this one's going to be a little more up your alley. I'm going to give this one 2.5 Fro picks out of 5. Whatever. Coming in 11th place is also one of the 3 records released by Green Day in 2012. This one is Uno. Uno features Billy Joe on the cover, and it's definitely a return to form as far as simple Green Day tracks goes, because their last 2 records, American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown, were of course conceptual records, and this kind of goes back to basics, which was definitely received well in the press when this album came out. There's a lot of great tracks on here. Nuclear Family is one of my favorite Green Day songs. Let Yourself Go is a fun, aggressive punk tune, and Rusty James sounds a lot like Scattered on the Nimrod album, which is a big deal for me because I love that song. But there's also a lot of uninspired tracks on here that just don't really hold up that well. Loss of Control, Troublemaker, and Kill the DJ is pretty awkward in its lyrics. And Oh Love, I just never got into Oh Love. It's one of those singles, it's too slow for a first single. That's just my opinion. I'm giving this one 3 Fro picks out of 5. Coming in at 10th place is the final of the trilogy releases. This is Trey, featuring Trey Cool on the cover. This is my favorite of the 3 trilogy releases because the songs I think are just better. Some would say there's more filler, but I think the songs are just really, really good. Brutal Love kicks things off in a really unique way. It's got this 50s doo-wop but punk rock feel to it. It's very, very cool. Missing You sounds like a Warning track. 8th Avenue Serenade, such a fun power pop number. A couple of songs kind of throw it off for me. The Forgotten is a really forgotten ballad for a reason, because it's not great, and it was in a Twilight film, so you know that means it sucks. And 99 Revolutions is just 2 by the numbers for me, but most of this album is pretty solid. Amanda is a fantastic track, just a great power pop album if you're looking for a simple power pop Green Day album. I give this one 3 out of 5 Fro shakes. Coming in at 9th place, we have Green Day's 2016 release, Revolution Radio, a definite return to form, especially by a lot of people that said Green Day were 1 and done, or I guess 3 and done with the trilogy. Anyways, it was a great album. It was 12 tracks, simple. They went back to basics on this one, but with like a more of a purpose instead of just being prolific for the sake of being prolific, like the band has said in the past. These songs are great. Bang Bang is probably my top 5 favorite Green Day singles. This song is such a great track. Dare I say a banger? I'll shut up. The title track, Revolution Radio, is fantastic. There's Outlaws is a really catchy tune, too. There's a folk number at the end, Ordinary World. I think that Billy Joe's trying a little too hard to channel Good Riddance, Time of Your Life on that, but it's still a good song. Somewhere Now has got a definite The Who feel to it, and I think it's a really cool album. It's very, very much, they just wanted to get a tight 12-track album to bring people back to the world saying, hey, Green Day's back. This is a great album, and they definitely succeeded. It's definitely not the best compared to especially the 90s input and American Idiot and all that stuff. I'll get to that later, but it's definitely a solid release, and that's why I'm putting it at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is 2009's concept album, 21st Century Breakdown. This was a huge deal for Green Day because they had just come off the huge renaissance and resurrection of their success with American Idiot, which sold 6 million and more copies. So they had a lot on their plate. They had a lot to deliver. And it's obviously not as good as American Idiot. That's coming later, but it's still a solid album. I kind of even it with Revolution Radio, except the highs on this album are just way higher for me. Viva La Gloria is one of my absolute favorite Green Day tracks. I'm going to say one of my favorites a lot, so just get used to it. Christian's Inferno is such a cool drum beat and bass line. That's just so cool. Peacemaker is a really cool experimental kind of Latin kind of feel. Murder City is a catchy punk tune. American Eulogy. This whole album is just really fun. I think it should have been trimmed down a little bit. That's why it's a little lower, but I still think it's a fantastic record. I'm giving this one 3.5 Fro picks out of 5. Coming in at number 7, we've got their first album, 39 Smooth. It's got a lot of fantastic tracks on it. It's their first record, so it's got a different drummer, John Kiffmeyer or Al Sobrante instead of Trey Cool. That's kind of its downfall. I know a lot of my purist punk friends will say, how dare you put this in 7th place? This is at least 2nd or 3rd place, but hey, it's my list. Shut up. Okay? Great album. Don't Leave Me is a great riff. At the Library is a fun tune. Going to Pasalacqua was a staple in their live set for years. Rightfully so. It's a fantastic track. There's a couple tracks that don't really quite do it for me. Rest is kind of just too slow. 16's okay. I'm also kind of including the additional Slappy EP and 1,000 Hours EP in this too, because those tracks are also great. I think it's called 1039 Smooth Out Slappy Hours. It's a great album. It's fun, and I really enjoy the early Green Day stuff a lot. It's just it's got this nostalgic feel to it. And I wasn't alive during 1990, but it feels like I was. So I'm giving this one 3.5 Fro picks out of 5. Coming in at number 6, we've got the follow-up to 39 Smooth. We've got Kerplunk. This is the first record with Trey Cool. It's what a intro for Trey Cool, because he crushes it on this album. There's so many classics. You've got the still to this day live staple, 2,000 Light Years Away. You've got Christie Road, One of My Lies, 80. Who Wrote Holden Caulfield? Oh, that's definitely up there for one of my favorite tunes by him. So, yeah, this one is 6th place. A lot of people would put this at their first because they think everything up until Warning or after Warning is garbage, but I say you are a bastard. So with that being in mind, Kerplunk is 6th place, and I give this one 4 Fro picks out of 5. It is that good, people. Coming in at number 5, we've got Nimrod from 1997. This album is also fantastic. It's 18 tracks. It's a lot to take in. A lot of the songs are shorter. That's not a problem. I would say if this was a shorter album, I would rank it higher in my list. But, you know, it is what it is. Some of the highlights are Hitchin' a Ride. That's such a cool tune. It's got a really cool beat to it. Scattered is one of my favorite songs as well. Definitely top 20 at least. Redundant is one of the best songs ever, in my opinion. You've also got Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, which is, yes, overplayed, but for a reason. It's a great song. Deep Cuts, Prosthetic Head, Jinx, Haushinka, Take Back. All this stuff's really awesome. I would really recommend all of the 90s Green Day output, and up until Warning and American Idiot. Just all of this is going to be really, really high scored, and that's why it's in my top 5 or 6. So definitely Nimrod. I give this one 4 out of 5 Fro picks. Coming in at number 4, we have got Green Day's 1995 record, Insomniac. This one is way more intense and a way faster, more angry punk rock album after reacting to the large diamond selling plus album Dookie. They didn't really want to be as poppy as they were before, and I don't blame them. I think that it's fun that they change it up, and it works because this album is such a great album. Like, I don't work out much, but I would work out to this album. It's a lot of great tracks. Stuck With Me is one of the catchiest dang bass lines I've ever heard Mike Dirnt play. Geek Stink Breath is a fantastic single. Brain Stew is an all-time classic. Walking Contradiction is also a great single too. This whole album is just super fun and angry and in your face, and all the songs are great too. That's the best part. The melodies are so catchy, but they're aggressive and angry. You don't hear that from a lot of albums these days, and I think this is a reason why Green Day stayed around for so long and have been such a legendary band, because the songs are always the highlight, even if they're pissed off and angry. So I give this one 4.5 out of 5 Fro picks. Coming in at number 3, we've got Warning from 2000. This is kind of a different change of pace for Green Day after releasing 3 or 4 faster-paced punk albums. But they did show a lot of experimentation in Nimrod, which they continue to do so on Warning. And I think it worked better on Warning. There's a lot of folk punk elements to this record. Hold On's got a harmonica in it. Deadbeat Holiday's got kind of a different folk vibe to it. It's a really cool album. I really like a lot of the tracks. Some of my favorite tracks ever by Green Day. Waiting is probably my favorite single by them. A little hint, I'm going to be releasing a top 10 Green Day singles and non-singles video coming up here this week too. Minority is obviously one of the best songs. They play this at every show, and for good reason. Macy's Day Parade is a beautiful acoustic ballad. Yeah, these songs just hold up so well, and I think they need to make another album like this. I know growing and evolving and all that stuff, but make another album like this, please, guys. I really encourage it. And I'm giving this one 4.5 out of 5 Fro picks. Coming in at number 2, this was a tough decision. I know it's considered one of the greatest pop-punk albums of all time, sometimes even the best, but it's number 2 in my heart. I'm going with Dookie from Green Day. This is obviously, what can you say about this album that hasn't already been said? 10 million copies sold, and then some. You've got some of the biggest punk songs of all time: Long View, Basket Case, She, When I Come Around, Welcome to Paradise, the list goes on and on. Yeah. A lot of people will put this at number 1, and I was so close to doing that, but I just had to go with this other number 1 choice. What can you say about this album? It's amazing. It's perfect front to back, short and simple, fun pop-punk songs. It's the blueprint for what pop punk did in the 1990s, and it influenced everyone else from Blink-182 to Fall Out Boy, everyone. This album is fantastic. If you have not listened to it, you're living under a rock, and you've been living under a rock since February 1994. Get some help, all right? I give this one 5 out of 5 Fro picks. And number 1, you guessed it, American Idiot. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Why are you not putting this at number 1, anyone else that makes a list? Come on. It's perfect. It's a concept record, but it works. It's a punk rock opera, and every song is memorable from front to back. Every song is a banger. Even the weakest tracks, like Extraordinary Girl, are still fantastic. I can't say much more about this album because it's already been talked about for 20 years, and I heard this on I heard Boulevard of Broken Dreams on classic rock radio recently, and it really bummed me the hell out. A lot of great tracks on this. Man, I just can't overstate it enough. American Idiot, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Holiday, Wake Me Up When September Ends. The deep cuts are even better. You got St. Jimmy, Give Me Novocaine, She's a Rebel, What's Her Name? So good. American Idiot, number 1. 5 out of 5 Fro picks. Duh. Thank you guys for watching. That is my Green Day ranked best to worst album series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and tickle the bell for notifications. And I will see you guys in the next video at the Dresch Code. Thank you guys for watching.